Hello everyone, this is Steve Mackel, head coach of MarathonTraining.tv for your best marathon ever. I'm here to talk to you today about a question I get asked quite frequently. Do we coach runners to use the walk-run training method? And the answer is we encourage people to walk, but we don't use the traditional walk-run training method. I'm going to tell you, first explain that method to you. So it involves using your watch, and you walk and then you run, you walk and you run. And let's say you walk for 1 minute, then you run for 3 minutes, you walk for 1 minute and you run for 3 minutes. You do this over the course of your half marathon or a full marathon. If you're a total beginner, you may walk 2 minutes, one run minute, walk 2 minutes, and this has been probably the hottest thing out there as far as marathon training goes, this walk run, especially for beginners. So let me tell you a story. Here, when I was a beginner doing my first marathon, I did the first wrong thing is I did not get a training program. I went out and I did a half marathon, and at mile 10 I broke down. So I had to walk in the last 3 miles of that half marathon. I knew I had to do something different. So I went to work on Monday morning. I went to a coworker who had done a bunch of marathons, and he told me about this guy, Jeff Galloway, who had this walk-run training system. And he said, hey, get a Jeff Galloway book, which I did, and I read it. And I started using the walk-run method. And it actually worked. It got me through the finish line of multiple marathons. But I didn't notice that my injuries were going down. I'd continually get these little stubborn aching injuries throughout my training program, and I thought, well, there's got to be a better way. So I started talking to some people that were coaching me and some experts, and I started learning about the way the body works. Here's what I learned is, first of all, and I learned this in yoga classes, you got to start listening to your body. And when you listen to your body responds the best. So think about this walk-run method and using your watch so much. So if it beeps every minute, and then it beeps every 3 minutes, beeps every minute, you start becoming a slave to your watch. And you don't really listen to your body. And I can tell you, I've been there. I've been out on that marathon course just waiting for the thing to beep so I could start walking. And then I dreaded that next beep because I had to start running. I wasn't listening to my body. The other thing is, I want to use an analogy here, the analogy of driving in the city versus driving on the highway. If you're driving in the city, you know you have to stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. If you drive in the highway, you go at a nice, even pace for longer periods of time. Which do you get better gas mileage in? Well, everybody knows you get better gas mileage on the highway versus the city. So if you're using this walk, run, walk, run, walk, run, and you're stopping and starting, stopping and starting, your efficiency actually would decrease based on that idea. And that rang a lot of sense with me. So when I put all that together, I said, wow, what about if I just ran until I needed to take a walk break, or there was an aid station, or I needed to eat, and I started doing that on my marathons. At the same time, I was talking to a guy, Danny Dreyer, who wrote the book Chi Running, and I was talking to him about this, and I said, well, is it okay to walk? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, but Danny, when do I start running again? He said, when you feel guilty. And it just made sense right there. So I'd run until I knew I needed a walk break, and then I would start running again when I started feeling a little guilty. And I was all of a sudden running longer and longer and longer periods of time, needing less walk breaks, and crossing the finish line faster, getting to my friends and family for that celebration faster. So that was great. And let me tell you, we've coached over 1,000 people and hundreds of beginners, and this works just as well with that brand new beginner right off the couch as it works with a person who's been running 3 or 4 marathons using the walk-run method. You start listening to your body. So I'm going to give you a few tips right now that you can take with you, and these tips, just try them, especially if you're doing that walk-run, and even if you're just running, these are great tips to remember all the time. The first one is, walk when you feel you need to. So we're saying walk, absolutely. We want you to walk when you need to, or you need a drink, or you need something to eat. Listen to your body. On good days, I might walk less. On days I'm not feeling that great, I may walk more. At least I'm still doing my run. So there's the first one. And the second and third one kind of go together. The second one is listen to your breath and listen to your body. Automatically, if that breath rate's moving up and you need to take big breaths and you can't talk, we call that the talk test, when you can't talk in between words because you need breaths, that you're going pretty hard at that point, so you might need a walk break coming up. And now it's also, how do you feel? Typically when that heart rate moves up, you get tired faster, so you might need that walk break. So number 3 is, change your pace more often during your runs. If you feel that heart rate moving up before you take that walk break, maybe slow down to a slower pace. Let the heart rate come down. Let your breathing come back to normal. So take these two together. Also, changing your pace throughout the runs and sometimes running a little faster and a little slower helps you avoid what I call the same pace, same run runner. And they're out there, especially in these marathon training programs. And I think a lot of the programs actually kind of breed this type of runner. They get all stuck on one pace, like I got to do 9-minute miles. And you know, the truth is, in a race, I'll start off slow and I'll try to build into getting better and taking it easy. And learning to pace yourself and being able to go at different paces and different runs is really going to help you. It's also going to make you better trained, and think of it as a toolbox. Is now in your toolbox you can run all these different speeds. So instead of just having a hammer being able to go one speed, you'll have a hammer, a screwdriver, a saw, a drill. So now you have a bunch of tools in there that you can use on your next marathon. So what I want you to do is remember the tips. Walk when you feel you need to, listen to your breath and body, and don't be afraid to fool around and start experimenting with your pace. I think these are going to help you have even better runs out there. So I want you to go out there, have some great runs, and I want you to train focused.